afternoon, and it's wonderful to be here this afternoon. I have just come back to Bristol after 20 years, and it's amazing what they do with the traffic here in Bristol sometimes. This used to be where we used to throw people in at the end of term after we finished exams. But now, you know, public health and safety and all the rest of it, you can't do that kind of thing. And of course, you know that you've got the river that goes right along here. But that means that there are no cars. And the problem is, I don't know if it happens here in England these days like it does in Spain with the driving test, that not everyone remembers their road signs. Is that not right? You get it right for the exam, they ask you a few questions, you do the theory okay, and then it goes out of your mind, you get some policeman leaning on your car telling you that you've done something wrong. Well, I just want to say that I have some sympathy with those who are trying to teach, because basically it is a mess when you have to scrape people off British roads. And so really, we learn these signs for a purpose. You know, it's not just to put us through the grilling or get some money out of us for the test fee. It's so that we arrive. Normally it saves a lot of public money if we can arrive. Now you are following that you look at what I don't paint, okay? Right. So ooh, no. We want you to all arrive safely. Now we're just going to put to the test the famous intelligence of Bristol to actually see if people can actually recognise some of these road signs, because they all speak to us and they're all important. For instance, here we got a round circle. It's a bit different from where I come from now in Spain, and now these aren't three black worms crawling around on a plate. What does this indicate to an English motorist? It means a roundabout. Now, which way do you go round roundabouts in England? Now, this is important because the Irish try... Is that right? I don't drive here. Safer not to. Right, well, that's right. And you know, many people, when I put something as simple as a roundabout sign on the sketchboard, then they actually aren't thinking about driving at all. They're thinking about this word here. Because right now we're enjoying our Sunday afternoon, but tomorrow morning is Monday. And for many people, there is a routine that they have to eat, to work, to live, to eat, to work, to live. And they just go round and round and round. And the problem is, unless in this life we actually find out why we're here, we eventually end up with this rather faded sign here. I'm just going to try and paint it in here. This is not a communist toilet here, please. So a blue sign with a T and a bit of red in it, what does that mean? A dead end, that's right, like the Pink Panther. Dead end, dead end, dead end. Oh, well, never mind. Many people who haven't discovered what the purpose of being here is find that what I'm going to paint up here for them is a dead end. Now, this morning, I took a really healthy walk round Camford Cemetery. So that will give you a clue that for many people, without discovering what life holds for them, they end up not just in the graveyard like everyone has to, but they actually end up living death. They're in a dead end. They say, well, I'm here, but I'm not really convinced about why I'm here. Well, you say, well, I didn't come out on a Sunday afternoon to get depressed. What's this guy going on about? Well, I want to say that someone is interested in you arriving safely, is interested in you having life, and is interested in you seeing more than both physical or spiritual death. And so he's also interested in you getting into this place here. But you know, the interesting thing is that when I actually tell you how you can get into this place, there are going to be people whose response is basically like this British pillar box here. This is a British pillar box, isn't it? Oh, I thought it might be one of those prohibited signs or something. Yeah, well, some people, they say, well, they never let me into that place. And I say, no, you've put the sign up there yourself. Prohibited. Well, For other people outside this place, is a different sign. Let me paint the place up. And it's absolutely amazing how vigorous people suddenly find themselves when I paint up this word on the board. They go off in every direction. Now you just stand around and watch. This is really amazing. They really fly. Watch out for the seagulls. Because I'm talking about heaven. And people say, oh, well, no, you know, that's where there are angels playing harps and long woolly nightgowns and all the rest of it. Very boring. But, you know, it isn't actually described that way apart from religious art. It's actually described as a place of peace and love and justice. And for many people, as I was saying, without discovering what their life is about, they end up with a spiritual death which blocks them out of heaven. They've self-excluded themselves from heaven. But the good news is that for some people outside of heaven, they haven't hung themselves up a prohibited sign. There is a sign like that. Now, I like this sign, particularly in Spain, because when you see it after you've gone through a zone which limits you, you can actually put your foot down, and they don't have as many speed cameras in Spain either. So it's wonderful to know that for outside of heaven, there are people for whom there are no limits for getting in. And you say, well, that's a bit unfair. I would have thought that God wanted everyone to go to heaven. And he does. But the fact is that some of us don't really want to get there. And I'll explain. You know, there's another sign, I think. Yeah, I've got it the right way around. It's a turning off a major road, isn't it? You don't see many of these now, not unless you've driven up the M5 when it was first constructed. But the fact is, this sign tells us there is a way to get to heaven. And that way, Jesus Christ explained 2,000 years ago. We're pretty thick, and therefore it hasn't really sunk in. And he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And because he said that, he said, no one comes to the Father but by me. But he never said, I'm shutting people out. What he actually says is that many people don't want to know. They say, well, you know, if I can't do it my way, as in the Frank Sinatra hymn, then, you know, I'm not going to do it at all. But Jesus Christ came to actually do something we can't do ourselves. And that is why we need to turn off on his way. And I'm going to put the other road sign up here. It's very simple. It's a cross. And it's a warning sign, actually, in the British set of signals, because it actually tells you that there is a cross and there's a crossroads, isn't there? Now, when Jesus Christ died on the cross, he came to bring us life, because he took away the barriers that actually block us off from life, life eternal. Jesus Christ actually bore in himself the penalty of sin, which is death, so that we don't have to die eternally. And Jesus Christ actually opened up the way for us to go into heaven. But when you get to a crossroads, on any road, you have to make a decision. You can either carry on your own sweet way, or you can go in a new direction. And Jesus Christ invites us to go in a new direction, to arrive safely, because the passage, the way has been opened, and the whole fare has been paid.